Okay, I'm testing the room, the floor mic. How does that sound? Okay, you're not muted, so I can't hear you. But I'm testing the floor mic. Testing floor
Yeah,
mic.
that sounds good.
Great. Okay. All right, so let me turn the floor mic on. Floor mic.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Something's not.
I heard something's not, and then it ended. I didn't hear anything. The microphone is so sexy. Also feeding back. Need to turn that one down. Turn that one down. Testing. Oh, a delay. But that's okay, I guess.
Test. 1, 2, 3. What is that? Testing. Testing. 2, 3. Oh my God, Kathleen, welcome. be starting in just a couple more minutes. Welcome to see you here. Begin with a 20-minute meditation and then a 20-minute walking meditation. And if you would like to continue sitting, you're more than welcome to do that. And so if you'd like to walk around the room here in a clockwise direction. So after 20 minutes of sitting, I will invite the sound of the bell. And then for those of you who want to walk, just quietly rise and then walk around. If you need to use the restroom, that's a good time to take that break. I just want to first begin by sharing a welcome statement with you, and then we will review the three refuges. We'll recite the three refuges. After our meditation and practice time, I will give a short Dharma talk and invite you into the conversation, particularly when we have a smaller group. Oh, let me share this on the screen. Okay, I see. Thank you for sharing, Margaret. Okay, yeah, feel free to just stay seated. Yeah, if that feels more comfortable. Yeah, so whatever feels most supportive for you today in practice, whether it's to sit, or you can sit on the sofa or on one of the white chairs, whatever feels most comfortable. Really listening into our body and honoring what our body needs today is how we can produce the best results for our practice. And I see Kimberly just joining us from far. Welcome, Kimberly. I'm glad you're here too. I will share the Lenzanita three refuges on the screen. For those of you here, there's the handout of that. Hi, Anthony. Welcome. Come on in. Yeah, we're just getting started here. You're great. You're great. Yeah, you're great. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll begin with the recitation here. And just taking a moment to ground ourselves and settle into just being here in this room, arriving, getting in touch with the presence of Sangha. And just a short welcome statement with you. Pacific Northwest Meditation is an inclusive meditation community based in Portland, Oregon, on the unceded lands of the indigenous peoples, including the Confederate tribes of the Grand Ronde, Siletz, and many more. Our vision is to foster a diverse community that supports the practice of all who seek to improve their lives through meditation, service, and study of the Buddhist path. The path of peace, of compassion, and wisdom. And our mission is to cultivate a sense of belonging for new and experienced practitioners from the widest possible range of backgrounds, ages, races, ethnicities, cultures, sexual orientations, gender identities, socioeconomic classes, religions, political views, disability, neurodiversities, and beyond. We aspire to be a contribution to the welfare of our community, our society, and the world by offering a space of belonging and support for all folks and underrepresented communities. We strive to cultivate a beginner's mind to build a sustainable community that practices deep listening, openness, speaking honestly, and acting with ethical intention. We strive to offer diverse Buddhist teachings and activities following a gift economy model. We serve and support the transformation of all sentient beings. So I'd like to share some of the guidelines with you to cultivate a safe and inclusive space. We study together and practice for the benefit of all beings. We recognize the suffering caused by biases, prejudices, systems of power, privilege, and oppression based on our identities of race, sex, class, age, ethnicity, religion, national origin, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, and the many intersectionalities of these various identities. We aspire to do no harm and to dismantle barriers that cause separation and suffering. Recognizing that our liberation is interconnected with the liberation of all, we acknowledge. Can you hear me now, Margaret? Is that better? Okay. And so we strive to be a scent-free space for people with sensitivity. So please refrain from wearing scents when you come in the future. For those of you who are here, and there's a garden in the back for those with neurodiversities looking for a quiet space. And if there are any other ways you can signal for comfort, please feel supported to speak up. For the safety of our members and to cultivate a space in which all feel free to share racist, homophobic, ableist, trans, and non-binary exclusionary language is condoned in this space. It is our responsibility as a group when we hear something to say something or as a call in to help both protect our members and also allow growth, communication, learning, and connection to occur. So I'd like to take a moment now to have us recite the refuges, and I'll share this on the screen. So begin by reading that first line, and then we'll together read from the first section, In Search of Freedom. So in order to honor the lineage of the Buddhist teachings and the aspiration of all beings for happiness and freedom, we take the following 3 refuges. And please join me. In search of freedom for myself and all beings, I go for refuge in the Buddha and the possibility of developing a more awakened heart. In search of freedom for myself and all beings, I go for refuge in the Dharma and resolve that I will deepen my experience and understanding of its wisdom that is wider than all the oceans. In search of freedom for myself and all beings, I go for refuge in the Sangha in order to create the conditions of peace, kindness, and interconnection in our progression towards freedom in all of our communities. I go for refuge in this triple gem of our spiritual practice for the benefit and liberation of myself, my loved ones, those who I do not know or have difficulty with, and all beings in all worlds, in all directions. Let us proceed with the 5 householder precepts with the intention to provide safety and peace in our time of practice together. The 5 householder precepts are taken as worded by Manzanita Village. Please join me. Aware of the violence in the world and of the power of nonviolent resistance, I stand in the presence of the ancestors, the earth, and future generations, and vow to cultivate the compassion that seeks to protect each living being. Aware of the poverty and greed in the world and of the intrinsic abundance of the earth, I stand in the presence of the ancestors, the earth, and future generations, and vow to cultivate the simplicity, gratitude, and generosity that have no limits. Aware of the abuse and lovelessness in the world, and of the healing that is made possible when we open to love, I stand in the presence of the ancestors, the earth, and future generations, and vow to cultivate respect for the beauty and erotic power of our bodies. Aware of the falsehood and deception in the world, and of the power of living and speaking the truth, I stand in the presence of the ancestors, the earth, and future generations, and vow to cultivate the ability to listen and clarity and integrity in all I communicate by my words and actions. Aware of the contamination and desecration of the world and of my responsibility for life as it manifests through me, I stand in the presence of the ancestors, the earth, and future generations, and vow to cultivate discernment and care in what I take into my body and mind. So thank you, friends, for joining me in that. Now we'll transition into our meditation. So please find a comfortable posture and sit in such a way that feels natural, not forceful, not trying to hold up your posture, but to allow the body to be at ease, relaxed, energized, and alert. Getting curious about what the body needs in this moment to be comfortable, to be at ease. Oftentimes, we only think about getting comfortable when we're getting ready to sleep or when we're getting ready to watch a movie. Can we invite that kind of relaxation where we can let go of all the worries of the world, of all the incompletion of projects, of to-do lists, of our roles and duties, and to give ourselves this gift of time, of stillness. of silence, quieting all the movement of the body. Not trying to force ourselves to be still, but being still as a result of being at ease. So anytime you feel that the body is tense and tight, maybe slightly shifting your posture to invite that ease that will help you settle into stillness. The back is upright if you're in a sitting posture, but not uptight. Sometimes throughout the sitting period, you might find that it's helpful to make those micro adjustments to the back, the spine, the shoulder. We'll begin with 20 minutes of sitting, and then I will invite the sound of the bell for those of you who would like to continue walking or standing. You're welcome to do that, or you can continue sitting for the remaining 20 minutes. And for those of you in the room, we'll walk in a clockwise direction, circling the chairs. When we begin our practice, we can make this declaration. Okay, I'm going to practice dwelling in the present moment. I'm going to practice bringing the mind back to the body. Bringing forth this determination to come home to the breath, to be aware, fully aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, moment by moment. And we use the breath as our anchor. We can also use sounds as our anchor, or sensations as our anchor. Or maybe it's feeling the pressure or hardness of where the body makes contact with the chair or the cushion or the floor. I often like to begin with getting in touch with the nourishment of the breath. Is it possible to enjoy the simple act of breathing? And smile at this miracle of the body breathing. Of being alive here and now, and like this. when we stop and look closely, we can see that awareness can only be aware of one thing at a time. Maybe today what feels appropriate is to let your awareness rest in one place where you feel the breath is most alive in the body, or where there's a sensation that calls for your attention. Or maybe we choose to rest in open awareness, where awareness is choiceless. Awareness rests back and sees and witnesses whatever comes into the frame and whatever leaves. Each moment discerning how much energy and effort to apply to stabilize the mind, to calm and soothe the nervous system, to rest in the present moment, being with what's here now, fully and completely. Continue to experience the breath in the body, experiencing sensations in the body. Know that there's a body in its posture, a body breathing. And experiencing the energy of mindfulness when it's present and when it's absent. In the moment you'll hear the sound of the bell. The bell is an invitation to continue to practice, whether you choose to stay in this posture or to transition to standing or walking. Practice with continuity, mind, with body, with breath, with movement. We maintain equanimity. In each moment, we are balancing effort with concentration. And we remain alert and awake, but not hyper vigilant. And we be relaxed, at ease, but not fall into that sleepy dullness. Where to increase effort or concentration, and where to soften and relax. Balancing is not something we experience with the mind. It is in practicing that we achieve this equilibrium, the centeredness, this feeling of groundedness. In the moment of losing balance, we come back to a conscious in-breath and out-breath, stabilizing the body, the mind, bringing ourselves into perfect oneness with the present moment. upon seeing the hindrances of the mind with full awareness. What is the right effort to apply? To let go, to give up, to abandon. To replace it with the goodness that is also here simultaneously. Turning the mind to wholesome thoughts, wholesome experiences that are also here. The pleasantness of the breath, of being in Sangha, can you maintain what is good about this moment? And let the goodness carry you into a deeper state of stillness. And if that's not available today, you can continue to nourish yourself with the in breath and the out breath. Keeping the practice simple, natural, and easy. As you come out of your meditation, please continue to carry this continuity of mindfulness as you move, as you stretch, as you notice the shift and change of your mood, of thoughts, of sensations. Being aware of the change, being aware of the intention to carry out a certain action, and observe as it happens. In this moment, for me, I'm aware of how I was able to make do and be at peace with all the wires that I see around me and in front of me. That type A person in me could just let go. And that when we practice, we can really be okay with the external conditions. That we could let go of all the imperfections, all of the ways in which we want the environment to be more, better, or perfect before we practice. Hence, coming into a space, whether it's an online space or an in-person space, really helps us to practice because the space calls us into letting go of our roles, letting go of our to-do list, to let go of the things that might be occupying our mind today. We are able to take rest from that, take a break from that for a little while, and be in the presence of like-minded friends on the path who share this interest and curiosity. And today I will be speaking and touching on the topic of this path that we are on. What is this path that we're on as we're in search or seeking for more peace, for greater happiness, for ease in the body and mind? Mindfulness or awareness is the first step. And if we practice mindfulness, mindfulness of the four foundations, mindful of the body, the breath in the body, mindful of feelings, mindful of the mental formations, and mindful of the teachings of universal truth, we can really awaken to what it means to be human. And the kind of pain we experience no longer causes us to suffer. And then there's the path that we are on, the path that is the path to awakening, to liberation. And on this path, there are 8 steps that we can look to see how far we are on the path and what needs to be course corrected, what needs to be refined. Maybe sometimes we find ourselves veering off away from the path based on our decisions, the choices that we've made, or the way we unconsciously fall back into our patterns. And the Noble Eightfold Path helps us to see this, to see how far we've come, to see what's missing or what needs to be tweaked. So today I want to share with you one of the steps on the Noble Eightfold Path, and that is of right effort. So in this path, we begin with right view, the right view also is that understanding, having the correct understanding of the truth, the understanding about suffering, the understanding about the causes of our suffering, the right understanding about what will lead to the end of our suffering and stress, the understanding of the self that is not a separate entity. And I won't go into all of that today, but today we'll mainly be focusing on right effort. And there is a list, well, there are actually many lists in the Buddhist teaching. So the Buddha, when he reached full enlightenment, um, there were students that requested that he teach them and teach others. And he hesitated. He didn't think that it was possible for people to learn this. And he was convinced, they persuaded him again and again, please share these teachings. And the students said to him, you know, there are householders, there are people out there with very little dust in their eyes. They can get this. They can practice this and achieve and attain awakening. And so the Buddha spent time reverse engineering this. So he came up with these lists. And through the years, it has been refined and perfected, and the language kept improving so that in English we can understand it through our relationship to words. And so there are these 37 qualities of awakening. And in these 37 qualities, many of you have heard of many of the lists. If you want this whole chart that I have, feel free. You can email me and I'll send it to you. It's a really great chart that shows the 37 qualities and all the lists that brings it all together. But upon all these lists, so the list of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, of the Noble Eightfold Path, the 5 spiritual strength, the 5 spiritual faculties, the 7 factors of awakening, the 4 roads to power, the 4 right efforts. In these lists, we will see that mindfulness, which is kind of the entryway for how many people come to practice meditation and come to Buddhism, is through mindfulness. Mindfulness shows up 8 times in these lists. And effort or energy shows up 10 times. So mindfulness is the entry, the gateway, and then effort is what helps us sustain and continue and to carry on this practice. Mindfulness alone can only take us so far. We can be aware, but then what do we do with what we are now aware of? Right? So to know what to do with what we're aware of is what I want to talk about today, is that right effort. And right effort is in the Noble Eightfold Path is after we develop the right view and understanding of things, then right effort helps carry us into and onto the path. And of the Noble Eightfold Path, the 8 steps to happiness or to freedom, there is right view, right effort, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And I plan on offering a class this fall. I'm thinking it at the end of September around the Noble Eightfold Path. I think this is a very important teaching that will help bring clarity to for us to know where we're at. What do we need to strengthen? Right? Is it around livelihood? Maybe it's around speech. Maybe it's around action. Maybe our effort and energy needs to be tweaked and refined. Or maybe our view, we need to examine our view. Um, and so I recall what had me step onto this path was when I was 23, I really got in touch with suffering, the suffering within myself. I was a young business owner, and I remember going to the Vietnamese Buddhist temple and going up to the monks, one of the venerable that was teaching that day, and I approached him after he gave a Dharma talk and after the chanting, and I asked, I'm suffering, and I want to know if there's a practice that will help me reduce my suffering. And he said, just chant the Buddha's name. And I wasn't satisfied with that answer. I said, that's it? No, well, that's not enough. And so I continued to go on this hunt. And I didn't believe that that was the way for me. And for some people, that might be the way. That might be the path, is to, chant mantras and feel that the body calming, the mind calming, feel tranquilized and at peace. But I was looking for answers, more answers. And I was suffering. I felt this void. I felt this angst. I felt there was this hollow part inside of me. And there was this darkness. It was like nothing I could do would take it away. It was not enough. Nothing I could do would fill that void, would take this feeling away, this dissatisfaction. So the term dukkha, which is mostly translated as suffering, the word dukkha, Dukkha, means dissatisfaction, it means stress or suffering, tension. So I felt this dissatisfaction with life, and I mean, there was nothing that could take it away. And so that's what led me to this path. I knew there was something there to explore within meditation. I remember growing up and seeing how peaceful and calm and contented the monks were. I spent a lot of my youth at the temples and around Buddhist monks who would come and visit our home and stay at our home. And I realized I want that. I don't know what's there, but I want that. And so, with that determination, with that resolve, that led me to have this spiritual energy, this to get on the path, to explore what's behind the veil, what is there that I can discover or understand about suffering. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what was there, but I knew there was something there to unpack. And the first thing I did was I began what the only thing I knew to begin in Buddhist practices when someone experienced loss in the family, maybe a suicide or a tragic event, the monks would say, okay, the family, now undertake the 5 precepts, refrain from killing, from stealing, from, all the misconduct and from drinking. So refrain. And the whole family would um, uh, choose to consume a vegetarian diet for a while. They would, spend a lot of time in silence and reflection. They'd go together to the temple. And in that time, it's a time of reflection. And so that's where I began. And as I began those first steps, I became conscious and aware of what I was taking in through the sense door, what I was watching, what I was listening to, what I was consuming through all of my senses. And so, what is it for you that has you now be on this path? Or had you began this path? Is it that overwhelm? Was it that grief, that loss? Was it that exhaustion that you felt about all the roles and responsibilities of life that is endless, that is relentless? I hear a lot in today's society about what causes people to uh, terminate their life, to just cancel themselves. And from what I hear, it's not being able to make sense of the suffering that they see in the world, within their families, within their community, and then within themselves. And in this practice, we are invited to courageously turn towards our suffering and touch our suffering deeply. It is the most scariest and bravest journey of being human, to face ourselves, to touch the deepest and darkest parts within us, our shadows, the things that we bury and hide. Maybe even the ways in which we become so identified with our pain. And we come to know of this first noble truth, which is the truth that in life there is suffering. We all face some degree of pain and suffering and sorrow. And when we are exhausted with suffering, with loss, with all the ups and downs, we're just exhausted by the gain and the loss, the excitement, and then the disappointment, the moments of insight, and then confusion again. This is when we stop and we take a step back and we ask ourselves, when is this ever going to end? What is the meaning of all this? Or we're just tired of the pain. We're tired of the changes. And what happens is it actually, instead of putting us in a resignation, a state of resignation, if we have the right view, it actually empowers us and energizes us to go out on that quest, to seek and to get curious and to be on a hunt. Even if we don't know what we're looking for, we're on a hunt for something. And we don't know it until it finds us or we're ready to meet it. This morning in our online meditation community, Wake Up Together, I shared about a 14-year-old girl who I spent a week with. And she, in our interaction and time together, she didn't see me meditate. She only knew that that's something that I did in the world, that I taught meditation. But after I left, she said to her dad, "Can Trina show me how to meditate?" And it struck me how aware she is, that she saw something there. Only having heard about it, maybe just experiencing it through being with me, that she saw something like what I saw in the monks that had me say, whatever that is, I want that. And she doesn't know what it is, but she knows that there's something there. There's some practice, a certain lifestyle over there with that person that I want. I want that way of being. I want that way of speaking, of moving through the world. And so sometimes that's all it takes for us to begin to get on that path, to commit ourselves to this exploration, this self discovery. And I remember when her dad shared with her that, okay, it's going to take daily attention and commitment, she says. And in order for you to go through this journey of self discovery, she nodded and she says, I need that. This is a child whose mom abandoned her at the age of 4, who experienced abuse by a stepfather, who's trying to make sense of her developmental delays. But she has enough awareness to know that there's something there that lies within the practice of meditation. And so all it takes is that moment where we turn towards our suffering or to our confusion or to the loss. And we see there's something there that we need to explore, and that has us be on the path. So it starts with that. And then to then cultivate this energy of awareness of how things are. We practice, I mentioned in our guided meditation, in every moment we're balancing concentration with energy. And energy, I'll use that word interchangeably with effort. But when we're working to balance the two, effort is this way in which we are actively engaging, but we're not trying to make something happen. Where we're leaning in and there's this interest, there's engagement, but there's not this forcing, this manipulating, this fabricating of anything. And it's a very subtle kind of effort that goes beyond, I would say, what athletes know as the kind of effort you put in to be in the zone. This is on a much finer, subtler level. And this effort is a relaxed kind of effort. It's an easygoing kind of attention we bring to things. And we're not so relaxed that we're chilled and sedated, right? We're not too lax. And it's not that kind of effort that is like leaning forward, hyper vigilant, but it's this kind of effort that is alert, and yet the body is at ease, and at the same time balancing, like feeling energized, yet relaxed at the same time. And it's this consistent, continuous application that we bring to our concentration and then the energy that we put in each moment. So when we practice, we might notice when we are restless, or maybe even when we're off the cushion and we notice restlessness and agitation, especially on the cushion, if we are restless, that means that there's too much energy and there's not enough focus. Okay. And if we start to experience the mind sinking, like it's just surfing, but it hasn't quite landed, that might mean that our concentration is good, but there's not enough energy. Okay. So you can notice when you experience a sinking mind or when you experience restlessness, you can check, how's my concentration? How is my energy in that moment? And we can apply this even in the waking moments of our day when we are, let's say right now, listening to this talk. You know, what's my energy level like right now? Is it calm? Is it a little bit restless? Is it anxious? Is it too relaxed? Is it sleepy? And then in the moment of noticing it, there's an opportunity for us to tweak and refine it and bring it back to that state of balance. And in this way, we are all also always looking at, you know, what's my energy of mindfulness right now? Right? How's the quality of my mindfulness? Am I concentrated or distracted? Is the mind expanded or contracted? So just going through and just sensing into the quality of our mind in each moment and the quality of our breath. Sometimes I would say if you are, you find yourself in trance, you might breathe a little bit harder to bring back that energy again. I know for me, there are times when I have to mm, increase my effort to be present if the mind is interested in all these other projects, but the thing in front of me that it needs to do, it's not doing, right? So in that moment, maybe breathing a little bit harder, maybe closing the sense door, right? Turning off the devices and then honing in on that one task, seeing what's in front of me, engaging with it with all the senses. So, right effort helps us to maintain that continuity of mindfulness because our mindfulness can break in the moment that our energy is not strong, in the moment that our effort is too lax or too active, too activated. I want to just pause there for a moment and see if anyone has any uh, question or comment or what might be coming up for you as you reflect on how this is in your practice, whether on the cushion or off the cushion. And for those of you on Zoom, we just upgraded our audio and visual here. So when you speak, everyone in the room will be able to hear you. And for those of you, everyone in the room, there's a floor mic that will pick up right in front of there that on the table when you speak. And then you can also hold this mic if your voice is very soft. Make sure you hold it so that the mic is pointing towards you, not like this, but directly like this. And that way the people on Zoom can hear you. And also it will come through the speaker here. But yeah, this is an improvement to improve the experience for everyone, for those on Zoom and in person as well. There we go. Okay. And then for those of you on Zoom, there's an iPad where everyone in the room can see you. Okay. Yeah. See if I can capture everyone in the room. It's a little bit harder, but when someone speaks, I'll flip my own camera so you can see everyone in the room or the speaker. And maybe I'll prime our time of reflection with a little bit more about what right effort is. So in the list of the four exertions, um, many of you have heard me share this, and, I will summarize it in another way. is the full right exertion or effort is one to practice restraint. So controlling the senses. So restraining, meaning that we are um, abandoning the unwholesome states that have already arisen. Okay, so the mind that continually continues to go off into that trance or that narrative, we work to restrain and abandon. And then the second one is the abandonment, so giving up defilements. So giving up the defilements of the mind, like anger, greed, hatred, giving up even the hindrances, which are of doubt, sloth and torpor, restlessness, aversion, desires. And then the next is cultivation. So we're developing the enlightenment factors, those wholesome qualities of mind, of heart mind, that of joy, that of equanimity, cultivating mindfulness, concentration, and then uh, preservation, which is to maintain the wholesome states of mind that have already arisen. So we're working to maintain what we already have, the good seeds. We continue to water them. And the cultivation is the seeds that have yet to arise, the wholesome seeds. We work to bring them to life, to nurture those seeds so that they blossom in our mind. So in our practice, as we sit, we start to see, sometimes what happens is if we try to block it, it causes agitation in us. So maybe we don't, and maybe we'll work to bring in the other good qualities, right? Touching into joy, to peace, to calm. Okay. And then, so there's all these strategies, and there's not one way to do it. So, for practitioners, we are always discerning and looking at what's the antidote in this moment. Is it to try to guard it, to extinguish it? Okay, it's not going away, and now I'm more agitated. So then what can I do now? Do I bring in joy? Do I seek for something positive? Oh, maybe it's feeling, just the temperature of the room is so pleasant, or feeling the sensations of the breath. Or maybe it's that ticking sound of the clock that has me feel, grounded and being here. And then we also work to, continue to, as we practice, we can start to see the onset of negative thinking. We can see the onset of drama coming into our mind. And before it even, starts to tell its story and carry its narrative, we can know right away to extinguish it. And then the other part is uh, for the parts that have yet to arise, like those qualities, you know, as we continue to practice to bring in equanimity, it will emerge, but we have to be um, in a state of calm enough for us to sense into the bliss, to touch into the the ground of our being, which in itself has the seed of love, of kindness, of um, joy. A lot of that is already there, but we have to settle down to a certain level for those qualities to emerge. And so you can see how a lot of this also lends itself to when we're off the cushion and how we go about life and the conversations we engage in, the ones we choose to stop and walk away from. It could be in, the way we are judging or assessing people and things. Is this view that I'm having serving me, or is it creating separation and discord? Right? Is this conversation I'm involved in, watering good seeds in me, or is it watering seeds that of, um, disconnect, of more hostility, right? Um, and we can see this in what we listen to on the news, what we watch on TV or on YouTube or Netflix. So when we practice in this way, right effort is like moment to moment. What is serving me? What's not serving me? And we continue to look at how each action, is rooted in that right effort. And that's how we continue to reflect where we are on the path. Right effort, in other words, can be replaced with the word wise or skillful. So wise effort or skillful effort. Because there is effort and then there's skillful effort, which is the one that leads us to our goal while we're on this path. It's like, I think of, applying ourselves in school, in our studies. Oh, I did everything I could, but I just, I failed, or I didn't pass, or it didn't go well, or at our jobs. But when we look closely, there's effort and then there's skillful effort. There's the effort that produced the result that we want. And so we can see this when we apply effort, but we didn't produce the result we want. That was effort, but was it skillful effort? Was it wise effort? So in the same way, when we look at this journey, this path that we're on, the effort that we're putting in, if it didn't produce the result that we want for our practice, we use that as an example. Maybe we need to re-examine our effort. I see meditators who some of them have gone to so many retreats and who have spent years practicing, but they still struggle with loving themselves, with forgiving others. And to me, that there needs to be an examination of their effort and their view. So, we can go to many retreats, we can sit for many hours, but if we're not applying the right effort, all of what we put in, we won't get out. So, are we practicing restraint? Are we practicing restraining our senses? Are we abandoning unwholesome states or the state of mind that doesn't serve us? Are we cultivating and developing those qualities, those factors that help us to stay awake? And are we preserving and maintaining this stillness beneath the movement, this quietness, this way in which we keep the water still, even amidst the wind, amidst all the actions above the water? Can we maintain that equanimity? And how will we work to preserve it, to keep it clean and clear? Just like I think of a pool that needs to be maintained, discarding, purifying, filtering all the dust, maintaining the temperature of the water, the clarity of the water, the pH level. For some reason, I'm thinking of like a swimming pool or even like a fish tank, a saltwater fish tank. Oh, yeah. Mhm. That's a good example. Okay, it resonates with you. Yeah. Somehow my examples of pool and bicycles happen to just be right there with you. So I'd like to invite your voices into the space. What's coming up for you? And for those of you in the room, if you can signal, raise your hand, and I'll hand you the mic. And For those of you on Zoom, you can unmute yourself. And if someone's sharing in either spaces, you can raise your hand or to indicate that you'd like to go next if there's someone speaking. Mm.
So, so glad that that's able
Let me hold it up close, yeah. Yeah. Can everyone on Zoom hear Anthony? No? Okay. See if you could speak again. See.
to hear
Rachel? No? Wait. Okay.
belt
Oh, can you see if the mic is on? Let's see.
Yeah, it's great.
It's green? Okay. Okay, let's see. Try it again.
Testing the mic.
Rachel? No? Rachel's nodding her head. What's causing this? Give me a moment. Please hold your thought. Oh, it's on
Wait a
now.
minute. Yeah, so it was a green, but then I switched it up and it says on. How
Oh.
about now? Can you hear me
Yay.
now?
Okay, great.
All
Yeah.
right. Should I sing or should I share my message? Sure. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me on that. You want to hear my message, and I'll keep it extremely short. I'm so glad that I was able to come this afternoon, and I'll keep this extremely short. I would say three quick things. What a wonderful message. There's so many things that stand out. I'd say first the balancing energy and your focus. For so many years, I've been involved with, I'll just call movement. It's kind of how I stay grounded. And it's only occurred to me over this last year that when I'm doing these movements that I do throughout the week, I've learned to keep myself very focused. The more intense that movement becomes, the more focused that I've been coached, and I've coached myself to stay, right? And it's all about balancing that energy and that focus, because if I come to these movements with too much energy, then I waste it and I don't get to the goal that I'm trying to meet. And so it's only just occurred to me over this last year that I've been practicing that skill, and how come I can't use those same skills in my challenges, in my day-to-day challenges, for instance, work, for instance, maybe just driving in traffic, right? And so I'm learning how to bring that same energy and that same focus when I have challenges, especially at work, especially dealing with people, because we all have things that drive us bonkers. People drive me bonkers, especially in the workplace. And so I'm learning how to bring that same mindfulness, that same energy, and that same focus. Surrendering is something that I'm learning how to do, right? Just to surrender and let things be as they are. I've spent so much time trying to control and trying to forward think, right? My job as these things that these skill sets that I have, I'm supposed to be a forward thinker. I think a lot of us have that, but it began dragging me down. So I had to take some steps back and I had to surrender. And then I think third, um, you were saying, the right time, the right effort. I started meditating probably quite a few years ago. Um, and I couldn't stay with it because it wasn't the right time. I put effort because I was suffering through things and I had dukkha. And so I would try to meditate and I would stick with it for maybe a month or two. I think the longest 3 or 4 months, 6 months maybe, and then something would happen and I would get upset and I would drop it. And that happened a few times over the last 8 years, 10 years. Um, but now it feels right. Now it's the right effort. And it's something now that I really look forward to every day, meditating and reading and listening to podcasts. The new one, the way out is in, which I'm really enjoying. I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah.
And so these three things are, you talked about all three of these things today. And so I'm so glad that I was able to come, because hearing that with the Sangha and from my teacher just helps to reinforce. And so it really makes me happy. A little longer than I wanted to go.
Great.
Now, should I sing? No, you don't want to hear me sing.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks for the offer.
Mm.
Thanks
Mm.
for listening.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Wow. Oh yeah, please state your name. So that was Anthony who spoke earlier.
I'm Rob. So I think what I liked about this talk was that it's a good reminder of how you can check yourself as you're going.
Mhm.
And it's not easy to do, especially I think every meditator has to learn, you know, the right, I'm not sure if techniques are the right word, but the right approach. And it's a great teacher that can observe meditators and give the right advice. And I would encourage everyone to be very open and honest about your practice with your teachers, because they can really help you. I think for me, my example would be in meditation, I was trying too hard. And I was like, I didn't even realize how I was sort of mentally bearing down on my breathing, breathing, breathing. And so I kind of stepped way back and just relaxed. And it made a noticeable difference for me. And a similar example of right effort would be, with a problem that you're facing, if you're, sometimes actually what you need to do is let go and pause. And, maybe it's your subconscious mind sorting things out while you're in the shower or whatever it is. But if you're pushing too hard, sometimes that's making it harder. And I think that's part of the terrible magic of the tricky ego, is that you think you're working on a problem and you're putting in great effort, but is it the right effort?
Right.
So that's kind of what I took away from this.
Mhm. Yeah. Mm. Thank you, Rob. Anyone else have anything you'd like to share about those of you on Zoom?
Hey everyone. Hey, it's Rachel. Anthony and Rob, really, really appreciate your sharing too. It's I think when I think about right effort and right concentration, um I felt like it's something that I battle with or struggle with in this sit today, and a lot of my sits recently too. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah,
hear.
okay. Yeah, when I think about right effort, when I always try to get into meditation, trying not to have an expectation to be in a certain state, but it just happens anyway. Like I want, part of me wants to achieve those moments of like peace and like non-self. It's a beautiful feeling, and when you feel that and it's fleeting, you try to chase it. So it's just interesting to balance that goal, but also not to try too hard, because then when you have, I think anyway, for me, when I have too much effort, it's like I get frustrated that I'm not in that certain state of mind, or when I try too hard in meditation, I just start thinking about all the rules and like going through them and thinking how great all the rules are, and it's like, why am I don't get stuck in the rules, just be in the moment. So I think, yeah, so too much effort is not a good thing, and then not enough effort is something that I'm always guilty of as well. It's like, if I'm super relaxed, then I fall into that trap of, okay, a thought comes in my head, follow that thought. Okay, maybe that thought feels really good or really bad, and then you just fall into that hole, and that's not good either. So it's interesting the way that kind of mindfulness practice works, and then when we relate it to the triple gems that we talked about, that we all shared in the beginning of this, it's like, why are we doing this practice? It's to let go. It's to seek freedom. And when we if you're holding on too much, then it's like that's just that same you're falling into that same routine of like, I'm fixating on an outcome. I'm holding on to an outcome, and like that's not conducive to the practice, because when you at least for me, when you attach too much, it's harder to um bring wholesome qualities to yourself and to other people. So um yeah, I thought it was a great talk today on that reminder of how important it is to really balance right effort and right concentration. So thank you.
Beautifully said.
Thank you, Rachel.
I can't
Would you like
blame.
to share? Yeah.
Is this on? Okay. Um, I'm new to this practice, gratefully new to this practice, but I've been trying to meditate for 40 years. And I came into this practice through a 12-step program because meditation is part of that. And in this one about the right effort, and my thoughts are all over the place, so bear with me. I feel like this is all a whole, the meditation and the rest of my life, and the meditation and how I deal with people, and my meditation and how I deal with myself. And it feels like the balance of the effort being about right has to do something with that I don't control it. And I keep thinking today about an example. It's from a totally different field. I was working on developing math curriculum with math teachers, and the math professor that was my mentor, our mentor, was really interested in the unconscious. And he said, it's like everything you've ever learned, you would like fill up books on a bookshelf. But our unconscious is the Library of Congress. And it's just a physical image that has stayed with me. And I feel like, well, there's so many different words for what we experience as human beings, being in touch with God, being in touch with our true self, whatever all those words, whatever all that means. I don't have to figure it out. I don't have too much time left. I don't plan to figure it out. I've lost my thread of how to come back, but I feel like I'm dealing with gigantic pieces of thought. And I don't have to come back to it right now. I'll get it later. So I'll stop for now.
Mm. Thank you, Kathleen. Yeah.
You know what's interesting to me? I was listening to something for the last couple of weeks, another podcast, and the doctor, he was talking about thoughts, and he was coming at it from a scientific angle. And he says the doctors, when they go in, the experts, the doctors, when they go in, they cannot find thought in the mind. They can find all the way down to DNA, right, with the most powerful microscopes in the world, but they can't find thought. And he used that piece of information to talk about our minds are useful when they're not. And what he meant by that was we're supposed to use our minds to solve problems and to solve things. But when you're not using your mind, you're supposed to turn it off, because if you don't learn to turn it off, it will drive you absolutely crazy. And then he starts going into the problems today. And it's amazing when I heard that, because I thought I have so many thoughts going through my mind, and they're not useful. They're doing nothing but bringing suffering. And when he says the doctors went in and they to this day cannot find thought in the mind, it doesn't exist. It only exists in the I can't describe how he says, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, when you bring math, it brings a whole anxiety to me when the word math.
Thank you, Anthony. I think you few of you have alluded to this about how the way we go about accomplishing our goals in life is this like effort, pushing through, right? Forcing. There's this kind of push and overexertion, like that we apply into everything we do to make things happen, to get things done. But what we learn in meditation is this effortless effort, this subtle way in which we apply just a little bit of effort to get things moving, and then step back and rest back, and then apply a little bit more, and then rest back and let things unfold naturally. And when we develop this particular skill in meditation and we bring that and apply that into our daily life, this is where one experiences ease, even amidst the doing, even amidst just the many projects and things that are occurring in life. The ease comes in because we're no longer overexerting ourselves. We know how to apply just the right amount of energy and then preserve energy, apply energy and then conserve, right? And so this is what we learn that can take us into another level of mastery within the realm of doing. But we come back and learn how to be with things first, how to be with the non-doing, with the non-striving, how to exert effort but not push through, to let things happen naturally, and then see, what little ways in which we can turn our view and apply our intention, and even just with our mind, the subtlety of like the effort of the mind. Because here, when we talk about these exertions, notice that it is about mind, not so much the doing, but it's about guarding, restraining, abandoning certain thoughts, cultivating certain qualities of mind. So this is all in the realm of like mental states, what we are to let go of and what we are to cultivate more of. So it's a very different approach, and it's not that kind of just gung ho, like keep going, push forward. I'm going to make it. So, sometimes with that kind of energy, we can notice how we tense up and we harden, right? In that way of efforting. But this kind of efforting is relaxed, it's calming, it's quieting down rather. It's listening and tuning into what's there now, and what's that little bit of, push, that little touch that can, turn the tide, that can move things, that can help things flow in the direction of our goal. Mhm.
I've been so high strung. I've been so high strung for the last, I don't know, X amount of years, especially the last 25 years in my last career. And so trying to come down, or trying to teach myself to come down, in uncomfortable situations, or in situations that bring about anger or fear or whatever it is. And so I'm only just now beginning to learn the benefits of meditation, because it's really beginning to help those mindful moments, um, and just kind of clearing the mind. So when those things happen, I can relax and bring myself down and remember why I practice. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I know we're coming up on time. I do want to share what came up while you're speaking, Anthony, is I just got really in touch with the suffering of what someone had shared with me not too long ago. And generally this is a generalization, but more so for men, that there is a kind of way of being that I finally understood, that men have the tendency to be hyper vigilant as protectors. So when going out with, let's say, your family or kids or grandkids, there's a way in which men are hyper vigilant and alert and scanning the environment, not really able to relax because always watching out for danger. And I see this, and also this could be for those who have experienced, being assaulted as well, right? People who have experienced being assaulted, and the suffering that comes with having to be hyper vigilant all the time doesn't allow for the nervous system to calm down. And I didn't realize this until I, spent time with particularly men who have been in the military. There is that, yes. Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And I saw the level of heightened awareness that was always looking, where's the cougar? Where's the, danger? Where's someone that could be around the corner? And hypervigilance is suffering. So restlessness is suffering. And we can see all the hindrances, all the states of mind that creates suffering within us, that has us not be able to calm our nervous system. We get in touch with the impact of it, and it actually, wow, opened me up to another a door of compassion to that hypervigilance way of being, as a identity to, be a protector, as it, coming from the place of love and care, but how it is also deeply affecting one's ability to be at peace, to be in the present moment, because there's always, thinking about what could happen next. So, we can observe the conditioning that has us strive, or that has us push through, that has us continue to harden up, thinking that that's the only way we can go about forward movement. And in our practice, we we experience and get in touch with another way to achieve our goal, another way to fulfill our aspiration and intention that comes from that ground of being. And I want to just end with just a short, let's see, announcement that we will have a teacher here, a queer teacher named Linda Rose, who will be here. Double check the dates here on the calendar. September 21st. Let's see, September 21st. Yes, September 21st. She's a teacher from River Wisdom Insight in Eugene. And she will be our guest teacher on September 21st. Please mark your calendar to welcome Linda Rose and her wonderful teaching, as she'll be teaching from an angle as a queer Dharma teacher and how she navigated this path in her identity. And the next 2 weeks, I'll continue to be teaching on this path that we're on, leading to liberation. Pacific Northwest Meditation is a not-for-profit organization. We began at the end of this February and actually opened our doors here in May. And this community is made possible through your donation. And so if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so here with the QR code on the sign, or I will put this in the chat for those of you on Zoom. You can donate to by Zelle, make a check, or through Venmo. And we are committed to delivering the Dharma in all of its presentation, not limited to any one lineage, any one teacher, any one tradition. We really want to enrich your learning and practice with many voices, many angles. So while I find my root in Plum Village with Zen Master Chinya Khan, and also with the Insight Theravada tradition rooted in Vipassana meditation, there are so many practices that we can explore. And sometimes I take and I pull from those other practices. And, you know, with the diverse voices of teachers and teachings, we really hope that it will enrich your learning, your understanding, and your practice. So when you support Pacific Northwest Meditation, you are supporting a kind of community, meditation community that is inclusive and that is really innovating something new, where we are open and where we are continue to learn and meet what is going to be beneficial for our practitioners. And also we welcome the queer community, the BIPOC communities, and we want to continue to be the space where everyone, no matter what identities, what background, what intersectionality one identifies with, that you could feel belong here. And we're always welcome to feedback as well. So if you ever feel the need to express something or share something, you can always email me at mindfulnesswithtrina@gmail.com, or you can talk to any of the teacher or the core members. Rob is one of our core member. Rob is also involved in the planning committee as well. And Rachel, who's on Zoom, is also part of the leadership body as well. So I want to thank you all for being here, for connecting and contributing to this Sangha body, this body that is made up of each one of you and your practice and your presence and your shares and your insights all makes up this community today. And it's not other than that. It is this, it is us, each one of us that makes this possible today. So thank you so much for being here. And I will invite 3 sounds of the bell and we'll breathe together. And I also want to say, Nikki, I'm so happy to see you here. Welcome. And Kimberly too. And then welcome to Jordan for making it back. And to Kathleen for being here for the first time in person. How precious that we get to see you after months of sitting on Zoom together. So precious. Yeah. So, and thank you to everyone. And Margaret, pleasure to meet you and see you on Zoom. I hope you feel better with your COVID symptoms. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And I will invite 3 sounds of the bell, dear friends. Please bring your mind and body into perfect oneness. Happiness is here and now. So may you continue in this day, remembering to pause, remembering to apply right effort into each moment that will lead you further onto this path. Thank you. And for those of you who are here, we have social hours, so if you'd like to stay, we'll be in the cafeteria enjoying some snacks and drinks. And goodbye to everyone on Zoom. Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to say goodbye to everyone in the room. Let's see if I can turn the camera here. But goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Nikki. Bye, Kimberly from Thailand. Oh, Everett's knocked out. Early morning over there in Thailand. He's meditating. Take care, friends. Love to you all. Blessings to you. Goodbye. Rob is waving, but I can't see him. All right. Oh, sleep well, Everest. Goodbye, friends. Ready for takeoff. Happy trails.